Second biggest bank collapse in U.S. history happens today. Monday is going to be ugly. Silicon Valley Bank closed by regulators. Silicon Valley Bank is imploding before our eyes. Here is how SVB threw 50 years of goodwill and $80 billion down the drain in just 30 hours. To understand this situation is to understand SVB's place within the startup ecosystem. SVB situated itself as the bank for founders. Example, you just signed a fat Series A, put the money in SVB. And lots of people were signing fat Series A's back at the start of the pandemic. Deposits in SVB grew from $60 billion in 2019 to over $189 billion in 2022. With all that money rolling in, SVB wanted to put the money to work. They ended up buying $80 billion in mortgage-backed securities, aka MBS, with an average yield of 1.5%. With interest rates at historic lows, that 1.5% yield didn't look half bad. Then interest rates started to rise. With every rate hike, the $80 billion SVB had locked up looked worse and worse. Then deposits also started to fall. Remember those absurd valuations and checks startups were getting? They came back down to earth, which means SVB wasn't getting the inflows it once was.
The experts that I talk to say that we're on a path where this, will be resolved in weeks or months. The opinions are sort of all over the place. It's a live situation. We don't know what's going to happen to the depositors long term. But what I can say is that these thousands of currently small businesses that would become big drivers of GDP in the United States over the next 10 years, they're never going to get a chance to actually be that in the future. And that will be to the detriment of thousands of jobs, if not tens of thousands of jobs in the future.
Gary,
these depositors will not survive, weeks or months without some sort of plan from the government. The financial to save these companies, we will just wholesale throw out startup innovation in America if we allow these companies to die in the next weeks. And it really is a matter of next week.
Since it was in a more precarious position than before, SVB decided to sell some securities, at a loss, in order to give themselves a little breathing room. The idea was to free up more capital and improve their liquidity. Turns out that was a huge mistake. Even though SVB didn't have a liquidity problem, investors got spooked and reacted as if it did. A hilariously bad and convoluted press release yesterday only served to make investors more nervous. Over the past 2 trading days, SVB is down over 70% and it's still falling as we speak. As the stock continues to free fall, SVB has wisely decided to scrap its capital raise. Not because they realized it was a bad idea, but because they are now considering a sale. All of this has obviously spooked founders as well. Lots of VCs have jumped in to advise founders to get their money out of SVB. If SVB goes under, it would be detrimental to the whole startup community. Hundreds of startups are going to miss payroll if SVB doesn't find a buyer this weekend, or if the government doesn't backstop it. It will become a very serious matter.
It's time for me to log on to Twitter for the day. Wait a second, what is this whole thing about Silicon Valley Bank? Dude, that's where I keep all my money! Wait, there was a bank run? The FDIC shut them down? I'm screwed! Bro, get me out! I can't withdraw my money, shit! Okay, what can I do? Well, it looks like crypto is dumping too. I have to swap all my ETH into USDC. Alright, done. Wait a second, why does it say that there was money that backs USDC in Silicon Valley Bank? Should I swap back to ETH? Okay, done. But what if ETH is also screwed? I actually have an idea. I can put my entire net worth into Moonbirds. Alright, I just swept. Honestly, that's a relief. At least I know I'm safe. Wait, what's this? Apparently Proof has money in Silicon Valley Bank too?